Welcome back to another episode of the Landscaping Podcast, powered by Landscaping Unlimited. As always, you've got your two hosts here, Zach and Shay. And today we're going to be talking about hands-free landscaping, technology in the landscaping industry, and how homeowners and landscape owners can help consumers get to the point where they can set and forget their lawn. And so for the busy individuals out there, those who are just a hustle and bustle day to day, you love your home, but you don't have time to take care of it. And so we're going to talk about what are the options available to those who are in that kind of situation to where they're not looking to hire a landscaping company. They just want their product to just take care of itself, that product being their lawn. Shay, we were talking about this on the way here. You had asked me, one of the things that interests me about the field and just the green industry at large, and that is one of the biggest things is basically the future of it and how we can start. It seems like everything else in the world is designed to be more convenient for individuals and not in a way of just trying to do everything for them, like AI taking jobs, but just to help them live the life they want to live without having to deal with some of the other aspects. And for many, that's yard work. What does that look like?
We're diving right into technology in the landscape. There's no other way to word that. That's what we're talking about. When you go to technology in the landscape, my brain automatically goes to irrigation, goes to low voltage lighting, and autonomous mowers. We can talk about that in its own individual item. But mainly I go straight to irrigation, automatic irrigation systems and low voltage lighting. That is what I automatically think when I think technology. Irrigation systems and how they're autonomous and set it and forget it, that sounds fine and dandy. However, set it and forget it sometimes will create a problem for you. And so on the homeowner side of things, when a homeowner says, I want something that I never have to worry about, I want to set it and forget it, then I have to make sure that I explain to them it will do a lot, but it won't do everything. And so there's no perfect solution to where you never have to worry about it ever again. Sure, you can set it and it will water your lawn and take care of your lawn the way that it should. However, you have to observe it. You have to observe and see all right, is it getting too much water or is it not? Or is this head need adjusting? Because if you don't observe it, then it could be malfunctioning, and then you create a problem that you didn't know you were having. Too much water can be eliminated because there are sensors you can put in the ground that actually take the precipitation that you're putting out and therefore stop the controller.
Similar to a rain sensor.
Yes.
Where it knows rain's coming in.
Yep. So you have ones that do freeze thaw protection. So therefore, if you've got low temps, it will cut it off. You've got ones that are rain sensors. So if it rained, it will pick that up based off of just the rain itself getting the sensor wet. Then you also have ones that are precipitation based that are based off of the actual moisture in the ground, which are the most accurate way to water your lawn. You also have flow controls. And so if you had an irrigation system that had a open main line and was allowing a ton of water to flow and the clock wasn't saying, hey, open these valves, then the clock knows to shut off so that you're not wasting water or flooding your yard based to a cause from a mainline leak. So those are all sensors you can put on your clock that kind of help do that set and forget for you. However, you still have to observe your lawn because it's a sensor. It doesn't see everything. It measures the parameters in which it's set for, and that's it. It doesn't do all the other parameters, so you have to be able to look at your lawn. Now, whether you're doing that as the homeowner or you're hiring a landscaper and saying, hey, can I have you come by and just check my lawn periodically to see that it's doing what it's supposed to do? The system does a lot of it, but doesn't do it all.
Yep. For on the landscaper side of the house, when you install a new box for a client and you set the irrigation up, do you tell them that you'll be back in a week?
So it's customer based. It depends on what that customer wants done. It's the conversation you're having with them for the service you're providing them. If they just want you to install the system, then that's what you're doing. You're installing the system. Yeah, as the contractor, I think it's good practice to always tell the customer that, hey, I'm going to come back, in a week or 2 weeks or something like that, to come back and inspect the system, to make sure that the clock's still operating the way you want it to, make sure no heads have changed their adjustments, because sometimes they are gear driven. They don't always stay exactly where you want them, and so it's a good practice to come back and just double check, and it extends that relationship with the customer that they know that they hired a professional that's going to come back, double check and make sure that everything's still set and that everything's working properly so that they don't have to come back so frequently. Because if it lasted for this period of time, then we know that we set it up correctly, and then it should keep doing its thing according to the automations within the controller. And as far as controllers go, the possibilities are literally unlimited. It's Landscaping Unlimited slogan, by the way, but it fit right there. So, but I mean, the ways you can program a clock and the ways you can design an irrigation system to manicure and precisely water your lawn or your flowers or your garden beds is really unlimited. I mean, there's a ton of tech out there, a ton of different manufacturers, with all their proprietary, systems that work phenomenally.
Go ahead.
No, man, go right ahead.
All right.
I don't need a breath.
We will go through things and we'll roll. And this is not specifically for landscape owners, but I'm talking to you landscape owners. Anybody can learn from what I'm about to say. We roll through because this is our standard operating procedure. We have these conversations, we do this. And I don't want it to get lost in anybody that's listening. The advice that was just given then, like in case you missed it, that little action of saying and building that relationship of like, I would love to come back and check on this. So like, and you speak with the customer, hey, yeah, obviously I would love for you to come back to make sure everything's working right. You're not only extending the relationship and making yourself look like a true professional, but you're also, it's like a safety check on your own work.
Yep.
You're also making sure the heads are set right. Everything's getting watered the right amount. Because if you set it, you get everything good to go, you got it all plugged in, you're going to town, and for whatever reason, something's spraying on something else and it's collecting or pooling. If you don't go back and catch that, they're going to think you did a bad job, even though you did everything right.
Yep.
There are things you can't see until it is in motion, until it's action. It's acting out as it would in the real world. And so you coming back, it also helps you save your own reputation from those minor, like weird anomalies that you didn't see because you hadn't seen it running for an extended period of time. And so for anybody listening, if you're running a company, not only are you helping that relationship by following up, but you're also taking care of yourself. And so I think it's not going to, it could be out of the way if you have a customer that's way beyond your normal scope of work. But the breadth and the length of how much work we do around both county and surrounding areas, we're constantly cycling around. I mean, we were on the road for about 3 hours today from job to job to job. And so in that time, you stop at a customer, hey, we got to check this. Go over here, hey, let's just make sure that's working. So you should make that a habit to not just forget about your client after you've already provided the service you were set for, because that follow-up could lead to future connections or that recommendation, which is gold, is when somebody says they did a great job on my lawn, I recommend them to you. Word of mouth is huge, especially in the landscaping and hardscaping industry. Yeah. And so I just want to make sure that you guys didn't miss that.
Yeah, and if you're running the landscape business, I want you to also understand that when I say come back, in a week or 2 weeks or however, the time frame be for you, don't look at it as, I didn't budget for that. You need to look at it from a proactive standpoint. When you originally gave the estimate, go ahead and plan on that visit to come back and check and put that in your estimate. Sure, your estimate may be higher, but you're providing a better service. And so if the customer hires you, they're getting the service that they paid for. Mm-hmm. And everybody knows, you get what you pay for. It's the oldest saying, not the oldest, but it is a saying that's been around for a long time. It's kind of cliche, but there's truth to it. And so if a customer is hiring you to do work, then they're hiring you because they trust you. They're hiring you because of your quality, your reputation. And so, yeah, you may be a few more $100 more just for you to come back and do a service on their system that you just installed that shouldn't need much. But, figure that time into your original estimate. Make sure you're not taking any money off the table for you, but what you are doing is you're adding that sense of security to the customer. And honestly, when you sell the job and you say, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to provide that install. We're installing it, per head-to-head coverage due to all the training, license standards, general standards for the North Carolina irrigation contractor. And once we're done, we're coming back. And the reason we're coming back is because we want to double check to make sure these things are right. We want to double check to. Say that again. No, I will not. We want to double check to make sure that there isn't anything we might have missed because maybe it was raining and you're doing the install and you didn't get your trenches all the way compact because it was some silty material. Well, when you come back, you may can bring your guys and say, oh, well, that one trench sold a little more than what we planned, and you kind of touch that back up. Mm-hmm. And then the customer knows, all right, this person's going above and beyond. And you were up front with them when you told them, about the cost. Hey, we may be more, but just know that we're not leaving and giving you the red light special.
Yep.
We are planning on coming back. And so anything that you do see, you can address it to me at that point. And, I'll have the crew come fix it, or I'll fix it right now. And vice versa, it'll extend that relationship. And more often than not, sometimes those relationships turn into, hey, we were also thinking about building a patio.
Yep. Absolutely.
We were also thinking about, clearing out this underbrush. And so it's like, all right, cool. That gave you another engagement with the customer that you wouldn't have normally had, because you were like, whew, I finished that job. Let me get out of here. But now you're coming back, you're talking to them. Hopefully they're telling you that you did a good job. And then you're there to sell another job that, they want you to continue to do for them.
Yeah, I mean, we're dealing with people's homes. Like, it's the most close, intimate place that a person can be. It's their house, their property. And so for you to do a good job and earn that trust, they're going to keep you there because they trust you. And so that is exactly how that works. You had mentioned, go back to the theme of touchless properties that take care of themselves, you mentioned low voltage. When you speak about low voltage, for people who don't understand, we're talking low voltage lighting.
Yes.
What is low voltage lighting, and how can we set that to be hands-free? And what, as we're heading to the future, what kind of tech do you see in that area?
Yeah, so low voltage lighting, typically, what we consider low voltage lighting is like 12-volt lighted systems. The voltage will change depending on your transformer amperage, but the bulbs themselves typically are 12-volt systems. Depending on the length of your runs, in older days when you run all halogen bulbs, it was a little more technical on length of run and what kind of voltage you need out of the transformer to push the voltage, down the wire. Today's time with LEDs, it's not as important. Mm-hmm. So it goes to speak on technology and how it has advanced, over the years, and how it's now much simpler and easier to install, but also the options now are endless. We can.
You don't want to say unlimited again?
I was
possibilities are unlimited.
I was like, I already used it once.
We're going to have like a counter on YouTube, and every time it's another one that goes up.
Yeah. But a typical low voltage system, has a transformer. Generally now we use 150 watt transformers that usually do just about everything on someone's average home. Obviously you can do 300 watt transformers, and you can do multiple transformers, over a system. However, 150 watts with LEDs nowadays usually gets you everything you need. Now, low voltage lighting fixtures, can be up lights out there in the yard, up on a tree. They can be path lights that are aiming down onto your walkways, your sidewalks, your putting greens, around your sitting walls or around your flower beds. So there's all kinds of lights that you can put out in your yard that can tie into all this one transformer. So they also have transformers that are run off photocells. So therefore they allow your lights to come on when the sun goes down, and then they cut off when the sun comes up. There's also photocells with timers where the photocell will kick the lights on, and then there's a timer that kicks the lights off. Then there's astronomical timers where they pick up, you set them to your geographical region, and you pick a spot on the map to where you are close proximity to where you live. And what it does is it actually has the longitude and latitude in there. And so you'll set those up in the timer, and what it does is it tracks daylight savings time. It tracks where you're at. Then you can go in and actually set themes. So like if, for example, Monday through Thursday, you wanted your lights to come on at dark but cut off at 11. And then on Friday, when you were going to be entertaining, you wanted your lights to come on at dark and then cut off at 1 when all your guests are going to leave. If you have a party or something like that, then you can go in and set that. On Sunday, if you don't want them to run at all that night, you can set that per day. You can even go in and pick out calendar days, for Halloween, for Christmas, and depending on how fancy of a system you get, you can get ZDC bulbs, which are zone dimmable and color changing bulbs, to where you can set the hue in which the light bulbs, portray the light, and you can change it to where at a certain time it changes the hue, or at a certain holiday you change the theme. And then when you do zone dimmable, you can dim the lights down at a certain time. You can zone specific. So like around the pool deck, you want just these lights to be on at a certain hour, but you want the front to cut off, or around your garage, you want all these lights in the backyard to be brighter at nighttime, but the front to dim down, or vice versa. However you want your lights to work based on how you're going to use the space. There literally is possibilities for just about everything there. I'm not going to do it. I like to classify it as you can have Disney World, you can have all the bells and whistles of the lights and how it goes with themes. You can add the outdoor lawn, and the outdoor audio system with the speakers in your flower beds, and you tie that in, to a system as well. Even tie it all the way into your home audio.
Have you tied speakers into? I don't think I've ever been on a job where we've done that.
Yeah, we haven't as our company. I have been on some jobs where home audio systems have come in, and then we ran wires for them so that they could run their audio.
And it's all connected.
Yeah, and it was all connected.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so like that really opened up to my eyes to like we could offer that as well, and it would be phenomenal and be super cool. So when I say you could have Disney World, you literally could have Disney World in your lawn.
I think it's incredible how you can set the colors and everything. When you said like on Christmas it could be like blue or red, on Halloween like an orange or something, like whatever colors you choose to have, you could have that preset to where it's already set up. The sun's down, you walk in your backyard and your stairs are lit up, your walls lit up around the fire pit or the pool or wherever, it's already lit up. And I also realized I'm getting old when you said throwing a party and people leaving at 1. I was like, dude, 9 o'clock, man, it's bedtime. 1 o'clock. Yeah. my party days are over, I guess. But looking at that, having all that taken care of. Yeah, I think that really does highlight where we're headed as an industry. Like we are looking to match and meet people with all the things to take all like the think and the guesswork and the wants out of the way. You want the lights on when you're walking out for a nice safe walk. When you come home from work, if you know it's going to be dark, you don't want to show up to a dark house. Like not just safety concerns, but also just like your awareness of being welcome to your home, being able to see it lit up and like welcoming you, having the lights the color that you want. I think that is one of the best uses and best case study for landscapers to go in, to learn the tech, and then to go and provide it.
Yep.
And just maybe the homeowner doesn't want it, but at least they know it's available. We've come so far, so fast with technology. I mean, look at what AI is doing right now, that people don't even know it's available. And that's a part of the reason why I'm so interested in that part of it, is because it's changing like by the month.
Yeah.
Every month, something new's coming out. We're going to Tech-A-Block on Monday to learn about new ways they're using their stones, and just the products that they're offering. So even non-electrical things are changing. The tools are changing. The equipment's changing. So this industry is like alive and well. And as much as you see social media growth, and as much as you see, the military growth and all this growth in these other industries, landscaping is right there. Hardscaping is right there as an industry that is just booming with all these new advancements.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the hardscape showcase for Tech-A-Block, and then you said alive and well, because right after we leave that, we're going to the Green and Growing show, and it is it's always kind of cliche, but the industry is green and it's growing, and it's rightfully so. It's alive and well. It's changing. Things are evolving. Customers obviously want the prettiest lawns or the most manicured lawn that they seem fit for them. You can listen to a previous podcast where we talk about the best yard for you, but we, as people, we want nice and manicured. We want to have all that with the least amount of work possible, because nobody likes working hard. Let's face that, especially not on your own stuff when you're in your downtime. I mean, I like working hard on my own stuff.
How much downtime you got, Shay?
I don't have downtime.
All right. I'm just wondering if you can share some. If you got extra.
But yeah, I mean, we want automated, we want fancy, we want easy, we don't have to worry about it. You get off work late, you pull in the driveway, everything's lit up. You don't want to worry about, the grass is brown. Let me go water it with the water hose, because now I need to do that now because I have to get up early tomorrow and go back to work. So the customers and the homeowners, they want that simplicity of set it and forget it. Now on the landscaping side of that, it's cool that we go out to all these classes, we go to these hardscape showcases, we learn about all the new tech and all these continuing ed classes. The downside to that is we find it so cool because we learn all the bells and whistles of it. The downside to it is when we go present it to the homeowner, we forget to tell them, hey, this is cool and you can set it and forget it, but there also are some things you need to know. Because if you don't explain it to them, what you can have is a nightmare. You can have a ton of callbacks of, well, this isn't working this way, this isn't working this way. And what it is, they don't understand the tech, the way you do, because you went and sat through the seminars and the classes and learned it all. You sold it to them, but you didn't go through the simple operations of this is how it works and this is why. Particularly on irrigation systems, when you start adding all these multiple sensors, they're all feeding information to the clock. So sometimes the clock gets confused because maybe the sensors are fighting each other. And so if you don't program it and set it up correctly, that's an issue. More often than not, what I see a lot in landscapers that are listening to this and that do irrigation, you will understand it when I say that irrigation controllers that have multiple programs, like program A, B, C, D, where you can stage zones and different programs, different start times. Sometimes the homeowners will get in there, they'll press buttons, they'll change from program A to program B, think they set a start time for program A, and then they're like, why is my irrigation system coming on at 2 in the morning? I have it coming on at such and such. And what they did is they changed programs and they weren't aware of it because they don't understand how the controller works. And so when you go there, you can fix it in 5 minutes. And they're like, that's all it was? When it would have been simple for you to explain to them at the start, hey, your lawn only needs program A. You're not doing all the sophistication where you need, multiple waterings at certain times of day, isolated to the flower bed, isolated to the front lawn, the side lawn, the back lawn, because you can't do that. Sometimes the customers don't need that. So it's important as a landscaper, you give them what they need and you explain to them, like, you have all these possibilities, but as a professional, you only really need this.
Yep.
And you explain the controller to them and how it has that, but sometimes they don't need to touch it, because a lot of times I have gone back and fixed things that had they just left it alone, it would have probably been fine. And rightfully so, they have all the authority and ability to work on their own stuff. But sometimes it's because they didn't have the explanation of how it works.
I think that comes back to this being a people business and where you take the time to connect to the person. Like, yes, they hired you for landscape or installing the irrigation, but I got a job to do. I got to hurry up and get to my next client. Yeah. So you go there, you install it, you're doing all this stuff, and you just take off because you got more work to do. I get it, you're busy, and I understand the hustle and I understand that mindset. But what I will never understand is like losing sight of like what your true purpose is. Your true purpose is to solve a problem for that client, and the problem isn't solved if they just bring it right back. And so, like, to solve it long term, it's just like the 5-minute tailgate meeting. Take the 5 minutes to save an hour.
Yep.
Take those 5 minutes to save yourself that hour drive. Explain, connect with the person, take your time with them. Don't treat them like a child that doesn't know what's going on. Like, they're an adult, they just don't know that because it's new to them. You work in the green industry.
Yep.
Somebody who's not a licensed contractor isn't going to know as much as you. Like, back to the curse of knowledge. I've seen you sit and break down and explain things that are they're this deep, and instead of like going all the way into the weeds on it, you tell them exactly what they need to know and exactly when it's time to call you. And so it doesn't take that long. You don't have to explain the entire theory and everything, but explain enough. And I've seen you do this with multiple clients in multiple areas, and they're like, all right, cool. They just feel better. They're probably going to call you immediately. They're not going to wait to do anything. They're like, hey, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Or, hey, you told me not to touch it. I touched it. I know that's on me. Come on out. I'll pay for whatever it takes, for you to come out and fix all this. It's like I've seen both of those play out.
Yeah, we definitely had that with an irrigation call. They had a wiring issue, and don't touch nothing. We'll come back the next day. I touched it. I cut all the wires. Cool.
That's great.
I'll rewire the whole system.
Yep. One thing you mentioned that we haven't touched on yet: lawn Roombas.
Yeah.
Autonomous mowers. So is that a thing?
It is a thing. So it's a thing as far as the homeowners being able to go and buy small lawn Roombas. There are different makes and models. I'm not entirely versed on all the makes and models that are homeowner specific because it's not something that as a company I need.
Yep.
But there are you can go out to your retailers and buy lawnmowers specifically for your lawn.
Autonomous lawnmowers.
Autonomous, yeah, where you set up just like a Roomba. It's got a little charging dock. It'll drive right up to it. You can set it for how often you want it to cut. And you go and map it out all the points so that it doesn't run into your flower beds and cut down your irises. And then when it gets the batteries weak, it'll go charge itself. And if it did not finish the lawn, it'll go back and when it's charged and finish cutting, and then go back. I believe there's one that will cut almost a quarter acre on a full charge.
That's incredible.
It won't cut my lawn, but it has its place, in the industry. It has its place, in these small metropolitan areas where you have a small lawn, but you're busy. You're in and out of your home, doing work, doing events, taking the kids to soccer practice, the baseball games. So you don't have time to maintain your lawn. There's a place for it there. Particularly if you're someone who doesn't want to hire another landscaper to come and take care of your lawn, but you enjoy it, but you don't quite have the time, then yeah, that's something that works for you. And on a budget side, maybe that's more economical to buy that machine versus paying a professional company to come and take care of your lawn. On the landscaping side of things, we went to the Equip Expo in October, in Kentucky, and We're watching Bobcat has a fully autonomous mower.
I forgot about that.
Literally just out there.
That was one of
the coordinates. And,
if you see like the headless horseman on like the Ichabod Crane and all that,
yep.
You're like, that's crazy to like see that. That's what it looked like. It's like that thing's operating. It's like a possessed mower. It is a full-on mower, but it's driving itself around. It's got the lasers. It's got itself set up, and it was just mowing around. And just think about like some of the Hustler. That's almost scary to see.
Yeah.
These these Roombas. Yeah, and also good on Roomba because we're calling it Roomba, even though it's
not a Roomba.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. But we're calling it because it's like Q-tip. It's actually a cotton swab. That it is, but we call it a Q-tip because that brand made them so good that they just became known as the brand. Yep. So Roomba to me is all robot vacuums and now all robot things. But to think about like a Hustler, the big wing, like the Super Z, cruising around, mowing, and then just putting itself back, I thought that was one of the most terrifying and impressive things I saw at Equip Expo.
Yeah, I mean, as a landscape contractor, I have two-sided view to this where I think it's good and I think it's bad. I mean, I certainly see a place for it. Mm-hmm. If you're a small owner operator and you've got a property that, you could go and map out the points on the lawn and that you could unload that machine and let it start mowing and you go do the weed eating, the edging, and then blowing behind it and never have to get on the lawnmower, like the amount of time you could save on that. Mm-hmm. However, I also see how, on some jobs, if you've got a large scale company that it could alter, your workflow. So there's a balance in there. I'm not entirely sold on it, but I'm also not against it.
Yep.
I think there's a place for it. I just haven't quite found it in our company. But it's something cool, and that just goes to speak at how tech is advancing. And it's advancing for the homeowners. It's advancing for the landscape contractors. It's advancing for everybody. And we all learn about it from different aspects. We learn about tech from the industry, from the producers of it, how it works, how to install it, how to sell it. Then the homeowners learn about it either from us or they learn about it from social media of like, oh man, this is cool, I want that, but they don't know how it works. And so, then they call the landscape contractor and they follow up and ask more information about that. And then as a contractor, it's your job to try to explain it to them, try to sell it.
I think about the military. So we lived in military housing. In our backyard, it was like a 16th of an acre, and it was just a rectangle. And how convenient would it be for people in that situation? Or they have like an eighth of an acre and it's just a rectangle. We had a follower on Facebook share his lawn. It was striped. He's like, he takes care of it, but it was just a square, a rectangle. And his backyard also, like having, if you're a busy individual and you're running the kids around, just to be able to come home and your grass is cut every day, or however you said, every other day, your grass is cut. Like that, the simplicity of it is like, it's such a small yard. There's not much to it. It shouldn't take much to mow, right? But you don't have to do it. You don't have to worry about it. And it's that peace of mind that you're buying. So when you buy that autonomous, like that's how I view the lawn Roombas, is they give you that peace of mind for very small ones. I couldn't see like that, the giant Bobcat that was cruising around. Yeah. I couldn't see us using that in any of ours because of the nature of our business. Yep. Like there's too many variables. I think about people, I think about stuff, I think about all the trees, I think about the traffic. Like there's just a lot of things that they might have answers for at some point. I just don't trust it with all that we have going on. Yep. But I do think there is a place. Just like people's houses. A Roomba wouldn't make it in my house. My dogs would destroy it. But there are probably some apartments or smaller homes where the Roomba can go out and do its whole thing and you don't have to worry about it because of your living situation. And so those lawn Roombas, I mean, going around, like you buy peace of mind. And I think at some point people are like, why don't you do it yourself? Do it yourself if that's something you want to do. But there are some people who don't. And we have to stop thinking that somebody's less than for not wanting to go out and mow that part of their lawn because they're focused on other things. And we were having the discussion today. I'm hiring Landscaping Unlimited to do the lawn because I don't want to do it. And it's not that I can't, it's that I have other things that are higher priority to me. The goal for anybody is to align your life with what matters. And so setting my priorities, it's having the landscapers come and take care of that so I can focus on other things. And then when there's like that one thing I really want to work on, then I'll go and do that. And so for that individual, having somebody take care of their lawn for them or having the lights go on and not having to worry about going and turning it on, all these things, having the lawn be watered, this is where we're heading, and all of that is just a convenience to allow you to do more of what it is you love to do, the things that are a priority. And so I really like where tech is going in the industry. Yeah. I think it's just a really cool thing that we should embrace and not fight against. Again, I bring up the example of people who wanted to ride their horse and not get the Model T, and then guess what? Cars took off, man. Like that's the direction we're heading. And so as a company, or as an industry rather, we are heading towards more and more ease and convenience to our clients. That's and right. So you want to be the company that can provide that, not the one that's fighting against it, trying to convince them that they should just have like 12 blades and they should go around pushing to get their grass still,
Yep. I mean, the train is going.
Yes.
You can either get on the train when it stops at the station, or you can chase after it. But the train's moving, tech is moving. It's inevitable in our company. For the homeowners, it's also, we're seeing it, come into our day-to-day operations, just in how you schedule and route out, your crews. I've been in the industry for a long time. I grew up in this industry, so I've seen it all from, you write down on the napkin of like what the guys do, and you come back home and you put it all in on paper receipts, and put in the filing cabinets, and then you send the bills out in the mail. Then I've seen it go to the computer, and then you see it go to the iPad, you see it go to the cell phone, to the apps, and so it's just tech is here.
Yep.
You either embrace it or you get left behind.
If you guys have anything that we have missed, or any tech or any questions that you have, feel free to throw them in the comments below. We'll always address them. Thank you for tuning in for another. And again, don't fight tech, embrace it, find it for your life, find a way to use it. Don't be used by it. Don't let the machines run you. And then shout out to Roomba for being the company that has me thinking about robots. You guys are awesome. Stay well. Thanks for listening to another episode on the Landscaping Podcast.